Haha, listen people, we're back with more stuff. Sorry, I'm channeling Chuck Barris. Some of you kids don't know Chuck Barris, R.I.P. Anyway, so there's my feet. You have to pay if you want to see more. Anyway, so I got this bag of stuff today at Half Price Books. And we'll go through that. Kind of a little bit of a haul. A bunch of dollar stuff in there. There's Dave Hurwitz. Hey, Dave. Look, I gave Dave a thumbs up. So I hope you appreciate that, my friend. Alright, so here we go. Hello, guys and gals and otherkin. We're going to do a quick Half Price Books haul video. In front of the lamp, or under the lamp, that's almost 100 years old, I think. This is a vintage antique lamp. It was my grandmother's lamp. She probably bought this thing in the 1920s, for all I know. It's kind of an interesting thing, and it doesn't take up much room, which I like. I put that lampshade on, but whatever. It's the only one I could find, but it looks fine. And it's got that kind of elegant leg there, which is kind of neat. So anyway, real quickly. Today I did spend a little more than normal because there were some things you don't normally see, and I had to get them. Anyway, so we got this Ethiopique Volume 4. These were Ethiopian jazz fusion, wild honking saxophone music from Africa. These were out in Borders, I remember, back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. You could find them, but they were very expensive. They were like 16, 17 bucks a piece. Couldn't really afford them back then. I bought one back in the day. But there was a whole series, and it was just too expensive for me. This was $6 today, $5.99 at half price. I had a 10% discount. I'm like, okay, I'll get this. I don't have this volume, so I do now. And kind of cool find. It was worth it. This is Rimsky-Korsakov Scheherazade with Andre Previn, Vienna Philharmonic. This was their 1981 digital remake. Nice cover, vintage Philips, and it is an old, early original Philips. It's got the smooth case edge, West German pressing, very old. Probably came out in the very early days of CDs, maybe 1983. The weird thing is I already own this. I'll show you. Here it is. Here it is, and I got this same thing, smooth edge, 95 cents down at McKay's bookstore back in 2015 in Nashville, and I didn't know it. So today I wasn't sure if I owned this or not, so I didn't want to pass it. It was $5. I'll sell this one. I'll probably get about $5 for it, but get my money back because I wasn't sure. I couldn't pass up a smooth case vintage Philips issue for that price and a discount. Okay, so we got another Philips, and this is Victoria Mullova, Paganini and Vieuxtemps violin concertos. This was $3.99. It's a little bit, it's got issues. It's a promo. It's got a promo stamp on here, and somebody wrote on the booklet, nice. And it's a little scratched, but the thing about it is, her stuff really sells on eBay. Like this Philips vintage stuff, with Mullova really sells for good money. I don't have it though, and since it's promo and has some issues, I'm going to keep it for $3.99. It's a former radio station copy, so not bad. I think that's a fair price for that. Now this is the dollar pile. I got some dollar stuff. This is a tribute to Charles Mingus, with some top-notch musicians on here. You got Christian McBride, Kenny Barron, and Nicholas Payton. When I saw Kenny Barron on there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this, because this is going to be top-notch people doing Mingus. Not everybody can do Mingus well, but when you get this caliber, I think it's going to be good. So it was $1. Not complaining. Afro Brazil. This is a Verve compilation. They did a bunch of these compilations back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think I have this, but I wasn't sure. So for $1, I wasn't going to risk not getting it in case I didn't have it. It has some top-notch talent on here. And then, I don't know, this might be the piece de resistance here. Another Philips for $1. Guarneri Cornet doing Mozart string quartets. This is the kind of stuff I love to find. So that's a nice one. So anyway, there you go. That's the haul for today. This was $17 after my 10% discount was applied. Okay, a little bit of an update. It turns out I actually already own this, so I'll sell this, get some of my money back. I only paid $1 for this, so I would have bought it at any rate just to sell, knowing now that I have it is actually a relief because now I can get some profit on it. And now this Verve Afro Brazil is one I did not have. I didn't have this one. I have several of the others in this compilation series from Verve. I had the Bossa Nova and Samba discs, but I didn't have this African one. So, awesome. Okay. Hey everyone, quick report from the estate sale today. There was an estate sale less than a mile from here in a very old home, and they had a lot of knickknacks and trinkets and statuettes and art and things that they were overpricing, of course, which is what you do, I guess, when you have an estate company and you want to get that first day maximum price. Well, I did find some CDs over there. They weren't big on classical music, but they were big into theater, so they did have some opera, and they did have a little bit of classical music. They had a lot of Christmas music, stuff I didn't really care about. And they had some good books, but they were overpriced, so I didn't get any of those. This is what I found. I didn't find that much, so this won't take long. I got this Philips Duo of Bruch's Complete Violin Concertos. This is Salvatore Accardo and Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchestra with Kurt Masur. 2 discs. It turns out I own this already, so I'm going to sell this one on eBay. I was kind of pleased to find I already owned it because now I can make a little money on it. Here we got Kurt Weill's The Seven Deadly Sins with Lotte Lenya on the Masterworks Heritage CBS Sony series. I don't have this. I'm on the fence about this one. I'll probably sell it because I don't listen to a lot of vocal music very much, musical theater music that much. I have some of it, but I feel like I can sell that and it won't bother me not to have that. We got Yu Zhuang with Rachmaninoff Third and Prokofiev Second Concertos with Gustavo Dudamel on DG. I don't have much Yu Zhuang in my collection at all, so I'll probably keep this one. I don't think it's worth that much anyway. I'll give it a listen. I'll see if I agree or disagree with anybody on that one, but anyway. And then we got this, what is this label? Canal Grande label disc of Jules Massenet, Thérèse. It's an opera. This is kind of a rare disc, I'm assuming. They had several operas. This was the one that was most interesting to me. These were all $1 a piece, by the way, which is a fair price. I'll probably sell this because I don't generally collect obscure operas. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. So we'll put that on eBay as well. So I'm going to keep 1 and sell 3. So that's a pretty good ratio. And I got this crate. It's one of those Napa Valley CD size crates. This is an extra long one. Nowadays, these things, the normal size ones, which are smaller than this, go for about $6 at your retail stores if you can even find them. You know, with the price of wood and whatnot now. They used to be $3.99. Well, this one was $2. They had this very nice one, very big one, long one for $2. Could not pass that up because I can always put these. I got one right there. That's a shorter one. They're always nice. You can kind of put them in and slide them back and forth to see the stuff behind it if you need to. I've always liked these. You can stack them. You can do them this way, you can do them this way. They're always very nifty, very handy. I try to buy those whenever I see them super cheap. So there you go. That's a little estate sale haul. Editorial interjection here. I just went to the Classics Today website and read the review by Jed Disler on this. He actually gave this an 8 out of 10, so that's not bad. I don't know what Dave himself said, but the piano guy seemed to like it more or less, with some caveat. Alright, we've moved the bag to the kids' chair, and we're going to put it in the office chair after I unbag it. We'll call this an unbagging video instead of an unboxing video. That somehow makes it different somehow. I don't know. It's impossible to open the bag with one hand, so anyway, the first thing we have here is a coupon book for next year for half price. I get the 10% off monthly coupons in there. Very nice. I spent $20 today, so I guess they thought that was enough to give me one of those. And I got a stamp on my card, and I get a 25% discount because I filled up a card. This is The Quiet American with Graham Greene. This was $2. I thought I had this in my collection because I read this book, and I love this novel. You know, I love Graham Greene. This is the movie tie-in, the Michael Caine movie, which is excellent, by the way. I recommend that highly. But the novel is great, too, of course. Kind of a foreshadowing of where America was going to be in with Vietnam. It's like the very early days of our involvement there in the 50s. Great book, beautiful atmosphere. Graham Greene's one of my favorite novelists, so it's in good shape. It was $2. So it's back in my collection. I don't know what happened to my old copy. Maybe I sold it off because I'd read the book and thought I didn't need it, but I hate the idea of not having my favorite Graham Greene novels in my collection, so there you go. Okay, so Miranda July, No One Belongs Here More Than You, Stories by Miranda July. I read this about, I don't know, a dozen years ago, and didn't have a copy of it. I checked it out at the library, but this copy came up for $2. I kind of want to have this because I don't have any Miranda July in my library, and that's now been rectified. I like that book a lot. Not as much as Graham Greene, but whatever. Alright, we got Vivaldi's Four Seasons with Seiji Ozawa and Joseph Silverstein, violinist, on Telarc, an early Telarc. It has the smooth edge. It's a Japan pressing. This is a very early one, probably around 1984, 83. And I think I have this. I'll probably sell this because collectors like these early pressings. And I've got 10 million copies of the Four Seasons, so whatever. Toscanini, Heifetz, violin, and also Rubinstein. I think I have this. It's hard to say because I've got so many different... These have been brought out in so many different configurations, and I have a lot of this series, this black and white Toscanini collection. I have quite a few, but I don't know if I have this one. If I don't, or if I do, that is, I'll probably sell it off. If I don't, it'll go in my collection. But I wasn't sure, so I went ahead and got it for $1. Mahler's 8th with Shaw on Telarc. I think I have this. I'll probably end up selling it. And we have kind of an odd pressing of the Pictures in Exhibition with Mazel on Telarc. This was a very early digital recording, I believe, that was on LP and then was one of the first CDs to come out back in the mid-80s. This is odd because, you know, most Telarcs have the plastic center. This one has a silver center. It's a full silver center disc, which is odd. This one was made in West Germany, not the United States or Japan. I didn't know that Telarc had anything pressed in West Germany, but this one is, which might make it a collector's item. I'm not sure. It probably is, because it is an oddity. I have this recording, of course, so I'll probably just sell this off as a collectible. Very interesting, though, that was made in a different place. Here we have some Gershwin with John McGlynn on EMI. I guess orchestral versions of the songs. I don't have this. I've got a lot of Gershwin. The back's upside down. That's okay, we'll fix that. The case is broken. I'll fix that. There it is. Good old EMI. Classic EMI red circle label. I'll probably keep that because I keep my Gershwin. Now this is an oddity, Teldec. Classics meet Pops. Die 12 Cellisten der Berliner Philharmoniker. Die 12 Cellisten. I don't know what 12 is in German, sorry. Der Berliner Philharmoniker on Teldec. So we got Classic meets Pops. We got everything from Bach to Bernstein to Lennon and McCartney. And we got Villalobos. Just some different stuff on here. I'm on the fence about this. I probably won't keep this. This is such an oddity, I'll probably end up selling that on eBay or something. Here's an oddity opera by Nicolas Breton, Golem and Arald. Don't know anything about it. On Nimbus with the booklet. I bought some of these oddity opera recordings a couple months ago, and some guy bought a bunch of them off eBay, so I thought, well, you know, maybe that same guy will want that. I don't want it because I don't collect obscure operas. I don't have time for all that. This is Orchestra Baobab, Pirate's Choice. This is on World Circuit. I had this at one time, and I believe I sold this several years ago, so I'm going to go ahead and sell it again. So far, we have a big sales pile, more or less. Okay, this is definitely going up for sale. A classic case, the London Symphony Orchestra plays the music of Jethro Tull, featuring Ian Anderson. On RCA, it's a pretty old CD. I don't really want this, but there are people who love this kind of stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and sell that. I'll probably keep this one. This is Tom Waits' Heartland and Vine, or not, excuse me, Heart Attack and Vine on Elektra. I don't have a lot of Tom Waits. You know, I run hot and cold on Tom Waits, but I, in general, like what he does. I'll keep that. And double disc Deutsche Grammophon set of Tchaikovsky Symphonies 4 through 6 with a Botto, Vienna and London orchestras. I have some of this already, but I'm not sure. I'll have to see what the status is, whether I sell that or keep it. Schumann the Symphonies with Dochnani and the Cleveland Orchestra, 2-disc set on Musical Heritage Society. I guess these were from Decca, is that right? Yeah, these were from Decca. I don't know if I have these in the Decca configuration or not. I was inclined to keep that, but whatever, we'll see. Yevgeny Kissin doing Chopin's Preludes, 24 Preludes. Don't think I have this. Probably want to keep that. I'll have to read the reviews on it and give it a listen and see. That's on RCA. This is a sealed Louisville Orchestra First Edition label recording. It still has the seal wrapping on the top and the plastic wrap. They're doing Copland, Elliott Carter, William Schumann, and some other guy I can't pronounce. And probably end up selling that. Don't want to really open the seal on that. Okay, stay there. And then we got the Lebec sisters, Katya and Marielle, doing Gershwin again. This is American in Paris, Porgy and Bess. I don't have this one, so I'll probably keep this. So, you know, they had a lot of Lebec sister stuff back in the 80s. Let's see. One more thing here. Alright, we got Orff's Carmina Burana with Moody on EMI. This is an early pressing, a Japanese pressing with the smooth edge case. I have to see if I own this performance. If I don't, I will keep this, but I'm pretty sure I have this because I recall this being really good. If I do have this, I'm going to sell this one because this is much more collectible with the Japanese pressing and the smooth case, which collectors like. They like that vintage stuff. The cover is a little different. That's kind of cool, medieval. So there you go. That's all that's in there. That was my little haul today. Very happy with that. For $20 and a stamp, and I got next year's coupons. So there you go. So as it turns out, I do have this, but I have a much later. I have the Seraphim reissue. This is the same Ricardo Muti Philharmonia Orchestra, not Philadelphia, Philharmonia in this case, with Arlene Auger and so on. Same performance. Uh-oh, we got a crimped booklet situation. See that? I hate that. Let's fix that. Booklet fixed. There we go. So yeah, obviously this case and cover are a lot more interesting, and honestly I'd rather keep this old one rather than this newer one, but the thing is I've got the music right here, and this one would sell for more on eBay as a collectible, so I will get rid of that. And I'll keep this. So I did have the performance. That's cool. So on this Moody Tchaikovsky Symphonies 4 through 6, I do have that 6th. I do have that Pathétique, whatever we're going to say, performance from Vienna from the early 70s. I do have that on a DG Music Fest. DG Musikfest CD. But I don't have 4 and 6. These are on DG. I do have some of his CBS stuff from that period. I used to not like those. I used to not like his CBS remakes of Tchaikovsky, but I listened to some of them recently and I've kind of warmed up to him a little bit. So anytime I find them now, I kind of keep them. I sold off a bunch of those back in the day, so when I see them for $1 now, I buy them, but whatever. So there you go. From the overflow room? Not really. The next day I went to half price and found this for $1. Steinbeck's Indubious Battle. Looks like an adjunct book to Grapes of Wrath. It's about the labor struggle in the apple orchards, I guess. Don't really know anything about this one, and I like getting a more obscure book for a good price, because I did not have this. And so there we go. That's a good one. Another day at half price, picked up A Tale of Two Cities by Dickens. Pretty new condition on that one. There was a couple of others that I kind of liked more, but they were older and they were creased up. This had the best of the large type, which, you know, when you're getting older, that's a consideration. So this one's a little bit thicker. That was the problem I had with it. It was thicker than the other one. But the type on the other one was a little bit smaller. So I was like, all in all, this was overall the best choice for me. It was $1. These are all $1. My project is to get rid of my big hardcovers of these books, which I'm in the process of doing and have been, and replace them with these smaller paperbacks that I can just stack, like, you know, like this, on a shelf and get more room out of them. Because in some cases these books are just as thick as the hardcovers were, but I just have to save space overall. And then Pickwick Papers by Dickens, I got rid of a big hardcover of that. This is just as thick, I think, but I can stack that, and it's in great shape. It's a Bantam classic. It's holding together real nice. And then I got Cervantes' Don Quixote. This is the complete unabridged, gigantic, complete edition. I used to have one of the Heritage Classics hardcovers of this, but it was only the first half of the book. So I never really ever had the complete book. And I read that one many years ago, back when I was in college, and thought I had read the whole thing, but then I was wondering why it ended so abruptly, and later found out that, well, no, I only read book 1 or whatever. And so I was kind of like, oh, I gave 5 stars to book 1 because it was great. So I guess I still have half of Don Quixote to read someday, but I have it all here. This is unabridged, complete, and it's on, I guess, Signet Classics. Very nice edition there. So that's $1. So, and I had a 10% off, so it was 95 cents a piece. So it was less than $3 for that. Another update. After Christmas specials, 50 cents. Christmas with Kiri Te Kanawa, Soprano on Decca. Very nice item to have. Hamilton Hardy's Irish Symphony with Bryden Thompson, Ulster Orchestra on Musical Heritage Society. What was this, originally on Chandos or something? Yes, it was originally on Chandos. I don't have this, so that fills a gap in my collection. And believe it or not, Hello Dolly with Barbra Streisand, Walter Matthau, Michael Crawford. It was a 1968-69 film during that big musical boom that was going on, where everybody was trying to replicate the success of Sound of Music and not really succeeding. This got mixed reviews for various reasons. But I didn't have this movie, believe it or not. This is probably the one, well, so-called classic, I guess, that I didn't have. You know, what is and isn't a classic, I guess, is up for debate. You know, this movie was never considered a great one, but it was always considered a pretty good, above average film, I guess. And, you know, she had just come off of Funny Girl, the success of that, and she was great in that. That was a better film than this, obviously. Half Price Addenda, January 11th, 2024. I read this, Gabriel Garcia Marquez's Love in the Time of Cholera. I read this probably around 2008, 2009. I'd never owned it, though. I checked it out from the library. This is my favorite Marquez novel. I like it more than 100 Years of Solitude, because this one does have little dollops of magical realism in it, but otherwise it's a pretty realistic novel of longing over a multi-generational time span. 100 Years of Solitude is just magical realism on steroids, and it just felt random to me. I wrote a parody review of it on Goodreads, I remember, back in the day, because I didn't care for it. I really love this one, though. This one was a 5-star read for me, but I never had it in my library. It was $2 with a discount, so, you know, before the discount. Anyway, so, yeah, I got it in my library now. The Lover, Marguerite Duras. I read this as well around 2009. It's a very short novella. They made a really beautiful movie of this novel in 1992, a French movie that probably would have people losing their shit today, because, you know, nobody has poetic souls anymore, I guess. But so this is a lovely book. It's actually kind of almost made me cry, I guess. But I read that. I read both of these, but I never had them in my library, so I do now. The Great Wall. This is a 1986 Chinese-American independent movie that is very rare to find, very rare to come across. This is $1 before discount. I had to get that. I mean, that's one I definitely do not have. And this is Adventures of Errol Flynn. This is one of those Turner Classic Movie type documentaries. And it was $1. Thinking of selling this on eBay, maybe watching it once. I don't really need to have this in my collection per se, but for $1, couldn't pass that up. The Plains of the Cecil B. DeMille Western from, I believe, 1936 with Gary Cooper and Jean Arthur. Oddly enough, Jean Arthur wasn't in a huge number of Westerns per se, but although she was in Shane, of course, I think she was in another one. I can't remember the name of it, but I think, wasn't she in a Western with John Wayne, like a comedy romantic Western, which I thought was pretty good. John Wayne was pretty good at comedy. I think he got underutilized in that department. Probably should have been in more comedies. But anyway, this is Gary Cooper. This is kind of a corny 1936 Western, Cecil B. DeMille. But fun, a lot of fun to watch. And I'm probably going to sell that because I do believe I already own this in my collection. So there you go. That was today's haul. So here is Classical Barbara. This came out, Barbra Streisand. It came out, what, 76? I guess this would have come out around the time of A Star is Born, or maybe a little after. I think this got mixed reviews at the time. I think it was largely positive. It's her just doing mainly kind of soft French, maybe a few German soft classical pieces that don't really require too much actual classical vocal prowess, because that's not her voice. She does a good job on these. This is very pleasant, but it is kind of one note. It's like the pieces were all kind of selected to be similar, to have a similar vibe. Very chill vibe. This is a nice album. I thought I didn't have this, that's why I bought it. This was $1. But it turns out I already had this. I looked at my Barbra Streisand section and there it was. So I've got 2 of these now. So maybe I can just put this with the classical stuff and then have the other one with the Barbra stuff, and then just move on with it and not worry about it. Alright, another addendum. Got this 1940s Technicolor family film, I guess you could say. Story of Seabiscuit with Shirley Temple and Barry Fitzgerald. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the actual story of Seabiscuit, but that's okay. Racehorse movie, very typical type thing of its time. I did not have this. I didn't own this movie. I like to get Technicolor movies from the 40s when I can. I like the look of those, so can't say I've ever seen that movie. Okay, this is going to be an outlier a little bit. Bionic by Christina Aguilera. I think this came out in 2010. Has a lenticular cover, which, there you go. I guess you can see the effect. Don't really buy things for packaging usually, but the plastic on this is really soft. It's a little bit different. And, you know, I don't normally buy anything by her. I don't really care for her. You know, just general pop music of the age doesn't interest me. But this is very electro. And it's actually kind of good. But to me, this is just kind of like sex music. Like, this is the music you play when your girlfriend is grinding on your lap, more or less. Which has happened before, and I play stuff like this in those cases. But anyway, yeah, it's got kind of a BDSM thing going on. I'll show you this. That there, which is not safe. That's not nudity, by the way, just in case anybody gets confused. But yeah, I mean, it's an oddity. I did pay, I think, $5 for this, but this is actually hard to come by. You know, her other albums are very common, but this one did not sell well, relatively speaking. I mean, by my standard, it sold a lot of copies, but for her standard and the record company's standard, this was a disappointment commercially. So, of course, it's her best album, right? So, that's the way it usually is. So, I've got that. I've been looking for that for years, actually, because it is hard to find. Richard Linklater's film Boyhood. Just picked this up, $1 at half price. It's still sealed. This was a highly acclaimed movie. My son said it was great. And I think I have a downloaded copy of this, but I didn't have a DVD, so we got that now.
We got season 2 of Mannix for $5.99. This is 6 discs. This was around probably 1968-ish in the history of the show. This is when the show gets good. This is when they changed to the new format for the show, where he's just a private detective with his own firm, and Peggy, his assistant, comes into the show here. Played by Gail Fisher. The first season was the Intertech computerized detective agency season, where, supposedly Lucille Ball said, nobody's watching this show for the computers, they're watching it for Mike Connors, which turned out to be right. She, of course, her instincts are always 100% correct, except when she made that last sitcom of hers. That was when her instincts failed her, but nonetheless, Mannix is great. This is Adieu Godard. It's a film from India, where I guess it's one of those comedy type things where, in this instance, a guy gets a Godard movie by mistake and ends up being fascinated by it. So Jean-Luc Godard, the French director, who died fairly recently, made all those baffling and often great movies. So I don't know, this is an oddity to find for $1, so I had to get that.
Well, that certainly ended up being long. This was just pieced together from a lot of different fragments that I've been filming over the last 2 months. Because I didn't know if I would have a channel. I have 11 days to go on my first copyright strike before it goes off. So I'm on pins and needles. At least I'm only 11 days away now. And that'll give me a little bit of a buffer zone. But until then, I didn't want to do a whole lot of work because I didn't know if my channel would even be here. So putting any effort into a video would have made no sense. So that's why there has been no content. That I have too many other things to do. But anyway, thanks for watching. Even if you watched 10 seconds of this. I want to do these better in the future, these kind of survey videos. But I don't know. I'm just practicing. So thanks.